Price isn't the only thing you should ask about when you're planning to haul out your boat at a yard. And if you fail to ask the right questions, you can't exactly put your boat back in the water and just leave if you're unhappy. Hi there, I'm Carolyn Sherlock, and on this episode of the Boat Galley Podcast, I share a few things you need to ask at a boatyard before committing to a haul out. Don't just wing it. Now, today's episode of the Boat Galley Podcast is sponsored by Mantis Marine, makers of the Mantis Anchor, now available in models with and without a roll bar. Proven to set reliably in the most challenging bottoms, the Mantis Anchor digs in like no other, making anchoring safer and boating more enjoyable. Mantis Marine brings to market practical, durable, and affordable marine products, including their anchoring gear, scuba diving accessories, a rechargeable waterproof headlamp, and a wonderful solar charging navigation light. Visit mantismarine.com and see for yourself. Now, if you've been boating for any length of time, you know that hauling out is one of those things that's both necessary and honestly a little nerve-wracking. It's when your boat is coming out of the water for bottom paint, repairs, surveys, storage, or maybe a total refit. But here's the thing. Once your boat is sitting on jack stands in a yard, you're basically at the yard's mercy. You can't just splash yourself and go somewhere else if you don't like what's happening. They're the only ones that can put you back in. That means the time to protect yourself isn't after the boat is hauled. It's before. By asking the right questions, that is. Price matters, of course, but it's only one piece of the puzzle. Today, I want to walk through the key things to ask and explain why they matter, so you can avoid some of the surprises I've run into over the years. Let's start with the obvious. Can you haul my boat? That means checking the length, the beam, the draft, and the weight. Some yards have limits, and it's not just size. Some will say no to catamarans, no to sailboats, no to wooden boats, or even no boats over a certain age. I know a couple who sailed in thinking everything was fine, only to be told as they got there, "Sorry, you have a catamaran? No, we don't haul cats here." They had to scramble to find another yard to do what they wanted. Second, is there any special prep required? Sometimes you'll need to come in at high tide or back into the lift well. Some yards even require things like removing roller-furling headsails before the haul. We've had that ourselves a couple of times. And let me tell you, it's a lot easier to take a sail down at anchor the day before than when the travel lift crew is standing around just waiting for you. Ask ahead and plan for things. Third question, can I work on my boat myself? This is huge. Some yards don't allow any do-it-yourself work. Others will let you sand and paint, not touch electrical or rigging. I've even been in places that allowed you to do the work, but only if you used or bought the supplies from them. If you're counting on doing part of the job yourself, or even if you're planning to do all of it, know the exact rules before you commit. Have a real honest talk about what you're going to do. Okay, closely related, of course, is can you do the work that I'm not planning to? Not every yard is equipped for everything. Some are great with fiberglass and bottom paint, but can't handle engine work. Or they may have a welder on staff one year, but not the next. Make sure that they can handle the specific projects that you are planning to do. If they won't, you've got to figure out how you can handle it. And that brings up the next one. Do they allow outside contractors? Now, this is where people get into trouble. Some yards forbid both DIY work and outside contractors. That leaves you with only their in-house staff. And if they've backed up, or you're not really thrilled with the work they're doing, or if one of their employees leaves, and that's the only one of a certain area, you're stuck. Our designer, Julie, ran into exactly this problem in their last haul-out. Delays, frustration, and no options to do anything else. So if you want flexibility, make sure you have it in writing. Okay, now let's talk about parts and supplies. Yards handle this really differently. Some insist that you buy everything through them and they'll tack on 10, 15, even 20%. Others don't care where you buy. If you're planning something major, like an engine replacement, it can mean thousands of dollars. Even for smaller jobs, it adds up fast. Another big one is, can you stay on the boat while it's in the yard? Insurance rules mean that more and more yards are saying no. Others will allow it, sometimes for a daily fee. If you can't stay aboard, check out nearby lodging and factor that into your costs. Plus, maybe any travel costs if it's not really nearby. Now, if you can stay aboard, check the facilities. Do they have showers, Wi-Fi? Are there restrictions like no barbecues or no using the galley stove? And be realistic. Staying in a yard can be noisy, dusty, and not very private. Dave and I did it basically all the times that we were in a yard because it was the way to make it affordable for us. That's the other question, of course. Next question, how secure is the yard? That's both for your safety and your stuff. Some yards have gates and cameras, others don't. And if you're staying aboard overnight, you want to know what the area is like. And if you're not staying, you want to make sure if there's any theft problems that they've got. Make your own judgment about how comfortable you'll be leaving your boat there or staying there yourself. And then we get into the money side. Get written quotes. Don't just look at the bottom line. Understand what's included. One yard's prep may be just a quick sanding. Another might mean that they'll sand to bare glass, fill gouges, fair, prime, and sand again. Those are really different jobs, and you can't really compare them. You have to be absolutely crystal clear what you're agreeing to. Payment terms are another thing to ask. Do they bill weekly, at milestones, by date? Do they insist on cash? Does it have to be by check? Credit cards accepted? Things vary all over the place. When we were in Mexico, there were several yards that only took cash. So we had to be sure that we went to the bank, went to the ATM, and got the cash so that we had it when they needed it. Another key question on the payments are, what happens if you're not happy with the work? You don't want to find yourself paying for shoddy or incomplete jobs. But the reality is, most yards require that they are paid in full to their satisfaction before they will launch you again. This is one of those tough spots because there's no other way to get back in the water. Now you got to also think about the yard's reputation. Don't just take the yard's word that they're great. No, talk to other cruisers in the area. Find the old-timer who's been around 20 years and see what they think. Ask people with boats like yours, were they happy with the work? Was it on time, on budget? Also find out if the yard has changed ownership or management recently. An awful lot can change overnight, both for the better and for the worse. Okay, those are the biggies. Price, sure, but also the rules, restrictions, capabilities, security, quotes, payments, reputation. The more you know before hauling, smoother it will go once your boat is on the hard. Hope this gives you a solid checklist for your next haul out conversation, and may your next haul go smoothly. No surprises, no regrets. Okay, that's it. Thanks for listening to the Boat Galley podcast. Did you learn something new? Help us reach other cruisers and future cruisers. Leave a review on your favorite podcast. And don't forget to tell your friends or share on social media, as well as subscribe so that you never miss an episode.